Zerglings, and now it looks like they're in trouble again as this early Tier 1 battle continues in the middle of the board. The Marauders unable to get away as they're just cut down by all of those Zealots.
Far too many units over on the Starcraft 2 development team side. We could see David Kim was able to regroup very quickly, even though that he did lose a few units out there. Matt Gozer, of course, continuing to pump Zealots. Let's see what he's been up to in his base. He hasn't gone for Warp Gates quite yet. He's gone triple Gateway and pumping massive amounts of Zealots. He is researching Warp Gate, though.
Right, which is a critical research for the Protoss. In addition to using Warp Gates defensively to warp in units around your base to protect against surprise attacks, or using them offensively to sort of sneak a power source into a mini base, you can also use warp gates just to speed up your production. Warping units is faster than building them, so it's really a key technology for the Protoss. It's not a Protoss we're seeing a lot of players bypass at this point in the game, and here comes the single Zergling, just causing some shenanigans, looking to sneak inside. He didn't get to scout too much there. He wanted to see what was going on inside David Kim's base, but he did see the kinds of forces he was facing, and it looks like Cinematics liked what they saw, and they're starting to move across the map for another push.
Interesting choice. I guess that Cinematics actually didn't get to see the entirety of the Starcraft development team's forces, and oh my gosh, there it goes. We can see that Hellions trying to get in there and deal as much damage as possible, but there are too many Zealots on the field. All of the Zerglings for both teams go down as the Zealots go in for a surround. The Marauders able to slow down the Zealots, may be able to finish them off. It depends what happens. David Kim bringing in some additional Zerglings to come in with some backdoor action.
Wow, look at all of that micro by those players. You see the tiny amounts of movements as the Marines would back up a little bit. The Marauders would focus on just the right Zealots to try to slow them down. Lots of little micro available in StarCraft 2 to really, especially with Marauders, to try to slow down an enemy force. Lots of little micro decisions there to determine the outcome of that battle. And there is the Terran threat. They need to get on the board. Some siege tanks could really break open in this game at this point as Team 1 backs up against that threat.
If the Zerglings and Zealots can make it up in there, though, there's not much that the siege tank is really going to be able to do about it. But I think that's why Matt Gozer is working on a little something else. What's that? More Colossus.
More Colossus from Matt Gozer. As the game goes long, Matt is leaning on a unit that he knows works for him and that knows will be effective. And you see all these players have been dancing again and again and again with the Tier 1, hoping to get a break. None of the players have managed to really push through. There have been some effective raids, but no decisive blows have been struck. And as the game continues, all these players are now looking for a way out, for a way to finally bring the fight to the enemy and really crush them. And so they're teching up, trying to get the splash weapons onto the battlefield that will sweep away the Tier 1 and give them victory.
Yeah, Hellion and Matt Gozer are really doing all of the teching in this match. We can see that they're the only ones that really went past Tier 1 by very much at all. He's all the way up to Colossus already. And on the other side, Hellion's the only person with anything above, Marines.
Well, early on in the match, when we looked at this menu, we saw that the income of both Zerg players was very, very poor. They had not a lot of workers on the battlefield. It's very challenging in this kind of rush game to keep up with your production as the Zerg, but the Zerg are so good at adapting. They have evolved, and they've managed to come back. They've got enough workers on the battlefield, but still, over time, they've collected less resources than they might have liked to. And looks like that Overlord is going to be, he managed to survive a little bit longer. The Colossus taken down very quickly by that Terran strike force. Still, the Zealots are just tearing in that force, ripping the place to pieces. Matt Gozer moving in with yet another Colossus, pushing this beleaguered Terran player back up his ramp to his choke point.
So this is where the StarCraft 2 development team is going to continue pushing right through Hellion's base. He doesn't have too much to defend him, but using those supply depots to raise and lower them just in time. The Zealots are now stuck outside, forced to only attack the supply depot while the units wail on them. But the Colossus, of course, reigning supreme, was able to get vision up the ramp and take down all of the Terran defenses.
Yeah, the Colossus, of course, able to use his height to walk up cliffs. It's a real advantage for him. It sort of keeps him very, very effective, even in the late game. That is a very damaged Protoss force moving in there, but still, it looks like it's going to be enough, and the Colossus has plenty of shields. And hey, look at that. Matt Gozer brought a friend for his Colossus as these SCVs try to repair that siege tank too little too late. The Colossus are just doing tons and tons of damage. There's not a lot this Terran player can do to stay in this game. We can see on the mini-map more orange and yellow streaming into this beleaguered Terran base, just ripping him to pieces.
And here comes David Kim switching to the other side, trying to make sure that Billy stays distracted, moving in to take down his economy to make sure that Cinematics will not have a chance of coming back from this. Of course, Billy does have some Mutalists out on the field, but that's really not helping Yun Ho at this point.
No, it's not enough at this point to really save him. Though it's very powerful. Oh, hey, some Vikings. It's exactly what he needs to sort of stay in this game. but still the Stalkers are a great combo with the Colossus. It's keeping them out of position. He can't really get a good angle in on that Colossus to take it out. The Stalkers are really playing keep away. And it looks like, hey, he did manage to get in and pop the Colossus. What a great move. Here come the Mutas trying to sort of help out, but the Stalkers are a great counter from the ground, and they're going to chase off those Mutas. And of course, another Colossus storming in to continue this relentless assault.
So Billy's really trying to do everything that he can. He does have a Corruptor out on the field. Corruptor can attack Colossus, and if they do get that last hit, we will see them do a lot of damage to the other units. Here we can see a Corrupted Mass dealing damage to all of the units around it, but it looks like Matt's going to be able to fend off anything that Billy says.
Yeah, they're in a lot of trouble. I'm not sure what they can do at this point to survive. They really need to get something on the battlefield that can defend themselves. The Zerg player seems to be in reasonably good position. If he can only get enough forces into play, it looks like the Zerg player is trying to take advantage of this. Billy is moving around the top of the map, trying to get some more damage. He's got some units and a Corruptor. It's just not a lot at this point to really threaten the yellow Zerg player, but he wants her to get some more damage, and it looks like he's got some more forces moving up. I'm not sure that'll be enough against the Colossus. If he can get the surround on the Colossus, he might be able to do some damage. The Colossus area effect, not so great on the Zerglings in the surround, and you can see he's taking some damage on those Zerglings, but the Colossus does go down, torn down by the superior Zerg numbers.
So at this point, really, David Kim's team really doesn't have too much to push for. He did just finish up his Hydra speed over on production. We can see that they're able to continue building, but at this point they have beaten and battered Cinematics to such a point that it's going to be extremely difficult for them to come back.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in, but they are aggressive players, and they are going to hang in this game and see what they can still do. Looks like that damaged Overlord out there is going to finally take the beating it's so richly deserved, hanging out in front. And here we go. We've got a lot of Mutalists trying to keep these Zerg and Terran player in the game, but with the combination of Hydras and Stalkers, this is not looking real good. Zerglings rushing into play, trying to help out the Hydras, using their speed, using the creep bonus to play keep away, and that hatchery is going to quickly go down to this massed firepower from Team 1.
Yeah, it's looking very, very grim for Cinematics at this point, although they did put up a great fight thus far. We can see that Billy is trying to harass as much as possible, taking down some of David Kim's Overlords. If he's able to finish that off, yes, that does put him into negative supplies, so we won't see any more units on the field, but it looks like they'll have enough to finish off Cinematics as it is.
Yeah, they've really got plenty at this point. Cinematics has got nothing left to hold,
and
not even that. Oh, what a shame. David Kim continues his reign of terror.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Nerf David Kim, that's all that we can do. We'll be thinking about it in upcoming patches. Thank you, Dustin, for joining us. Thank you to all of you that stayed tuned in and came over here to the RTS stage to watch the world first Starcraft 2 2v2. Thanks for watching BlizzCon, and we'll see you next time.
Yep.